Before I hand over the proceedings to the chairman to declare the meeting open, I would like to highlight certain points here. The joining to this meeting opened 30 minutes before the scheduled time of commencement of the meeting, which is 11 a.m. and it will remain open for another 30 minutes hereafter for joining. Members are encouraged to join the meeting through their laptops and headphones for a better experience and use internet with a good speed to avoid any disconnecting through mobile hotspot may experience audio-video loss due to fluctuation in their respective network. It is therefore recommended to use a stable Wi-Fi or LAN connection to mitigate any kind of technical glitches. As mentioned in the notice of AGM, the facility of participation at the AGM through video conferencing has been made available for 1,000 members on first-come, first-served basis, except for large shareholders, promoter, institutional investors, directors, key managerial personnel, the chairperson of Audit Committee, Nomination and Remuneration Committee, and Stakeholder Relationship Committee, as well as the auditors who are allowed to attend this AGM without any restriction on account of first-come, first-served basis. Subsequent to the MCA circulars of 8th and 13th April 2020 and January 13, 2021 issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the facility to appoint proxy to attend and cast vote for the members is not available for this AGM. However, a body corporate is entitled to appoint authorized representatives to attend the AGM through VC and participate and cast their votes through e-voting. To transact the businesses as mentioned in the notice of AGM, the members of the company were provided an opportunity to inspect all the documents referred to in the notice in the manner prescribed therein. We have received requests from 8 members for registration as a speaker shareholder in the AGM. All those shareholders have been provided specific links to log in to the meeting and we shall be allowing them to speak once the chairman directs. We request speaker to limit their speeches to 3 minutes for the benefit of other shareholders. At the end of 2 minutes, you will hear a prompt in the form of a bell sound. You may start concluding your remarks at this sound. After 3 minutes, another prompt in the form of bell sound will be released and moderator will take up the next question then. I would also like to highlight the speakers that when the moderator will take your name, your mic will be opened by the moderator of this meeting. You will also have to unmute your mic and start giving your views and opinions and comments. Non-registered shareholder speakers who are attending this meeting through VC today can also express their views and raise questions if they have any in the communication facility provided in the VC platform. The chairman would be responding to the queries at the end of question answer session. If any query is left by chance, then you can post it again or you can also email that to me at m.kocher@pnbgilts.com for reply afterwards. I may now inform you that your board has appointed Shri Swaroop Kumar Saha, Executive Director, Punjab National Bank, as non-executive and non-independent director on the board of directors of your company with effect from June 18, 2021. In terms of Article 98(2) of the Articles of Association of the company, Shri Saha is the chairman of the board and the company. With this, I hand over the proceedings to Shri Saha, chairman of the company. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Monica, and good morning to all of you. Dear members, on my personal behalf and on behalf of the board of directors of the company, I extend a warm welcome to all the shareholders and authorized representatives in this 25th annual general meeting of your company. I hope each one of you is safe and healthy. Technology has provided extraordinary solutions to us, and hence, in these unprecedented times of COVID-19 pandemic, we are able to meet you through video conferencing. The company has made all required efforts to enable the members to participate at the meeting through the video conferencing facility and vote electronically. The requisite quorum being present, I call the meeting to order. Before I proceed further, I would like to introduce to you my colleagues on the dais and also those who are attending the meeting through VC. I will request each director to acknowledge when I introduce him or her. To my right, Mr. P.P. Parikh, Independent Director and Chairman of Audit Committee, Nomination and Remuneration Committee and CSR Committee. Further to his right, Mr. Vikas Goel, Managing Director and CEO of the company. Mrs. Monica Kochar, Company Secretary. To my left, Mr. S.K. Kalra, Independent Director and Chairman of the Risk Management Committee. Further to my left, Mrs. Uma Ajay Relan, Independent Director and Chairperson of Stakeholders Relationship Committee. Then next to her, Shri Ashutosh Chaudhary, Non-Executive and Non-Independent Director. He is also Chief General Manager and Group Risk Officer of Punjab National Bank. Further, Dr. T.M. Bhasin, Independent Director and Chairman of Share Transmission and Issue of Duplicate Share Certificates Committee, has joined the meeting over VC from New Delhi. Apart from them, we also have senior management present here, representatives of Statutory Auditor, Rasool Singhal and Company, Secretarial Auditor, Pranav Kumar and Associates, and Internal Auditor, Lodha and Company, have also joined this meeting through VC. Before we take up the items as per notice, I would like to share with you the general outlook for the primary dealer industry and performance of the company during FY21. The notice calling the 25th Annual General Meeting of the company and the audited annual financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2021, together with auditors and directors' reports thereon, have been with you for quite some time now. There were no qualifications or observations or adverse comments or remarks in the reports of the Statutory Auditor, CAG, and Secretarial Auditor. With your permission, all these are being taken as read. Before mentioning the salient features of the company's performance during the year under review, I consider it obligatory on my part to apprise all of you with the key developments in the Indian economy and the general conditions in money and securities market in particular. FY 2021 proved ruthless in terms of humanitarian distress as the spread and virulence of the COVID infections took a severe toll on human lives across the world. The economic impact of the pandemic was unprecedented as lockdown at both domestic and global level sapped demand for goods and services. Domestic economic activity suffered gravely during Q1 as weakened demand and supply imbalances pushed GDP growth into deep negative territory. The Indian economy saw an acute contraction of 24.4% during Q1 FY 2020-21. With lifting of the nationwide lockdown and decline in COVID cases, the Indian economy picked up pace during the festive season, posting growth of 0.4% and 1.6% Q3 respectively. However, the Indian economy posted the first contraction in 4 decades, with real GDP declining by 7.3% YOY during FY 2021. The crisis of an unprecedented magnitude was countered with policy measures that were preemptive, quick, and far-reaching. The policy measures across the globe were characterized by additional fiscal spending, liquidity injections, relief packages, both general and targeted. In India, the monetary policy response was expansive and effective in alleviating the impact of the crisis on the economy. RBI unleashed a host of measures largely aimed at infusing liquidity in the system and maintaining genial conditions in the financial markets. RBI has also rolled out several forbearance measures aimed at mitigating the distress among citizens and businesses. The government focused on additional counter-cyclical fiscal spending to offset the economic slowdown, even at the expense of deterioration in its finances. The fiscal deficit for FY 2021 stood at 9.3% of the GDP as against previous year's fiscal deficit of 4.6%. Amidst the aforesaid macroeconomic conditions, the 10-year yield touched a high and low of 6.50% and 5.73% respectively and closed the year at 6.18%. I now come to the company's performance. I am pleased to state that your company touched a new milestone and registered highest PBT during FY 2021, despite operating in a highly challenging and uncertain environment. The record profit was driven by robust increase in core business income. Your company posted PBT of rupees 614.35 crore in FY 2021, which is 146% higher than PBT of rupees 249.81 crore posted in FY 1920. The company remained adequately capitalized during the entire year, and capital adequacy ratio as on 31st March 2021 stood at 45.58% against RBI's minimum stipulation of 15%. Your company also successfully fulfilled its regulatory mandates as a primary dealer in both primary and secondary market during the year. This year's achievement would not have been possible without the continued trust of our stakeholders, who have reposed their faith and contributed towards building of a vibrant organization. Your board declared the first interim dividend at 30% on November 10, 2020, second interim dividend at 40% on February 4, 2021. I am pleased to announce that the Board of Directors has recommended a final dividend of 30%, which, if approved in this annual general meeting, will make it the highest sorry, there was some disturbance. Which, if approved in this annual general meeting, will make it the highest ever dividend payout at 100% since inception. As on 31st March 2021, the company's net worth stands at rupees 1,305.69 crores as against rupees 1,002.19 crore as on March 31, 2020. Going forward, your company stands committed to striving to make the best use of its competences to improve the bottom line and the shareholders' value further in the years to come. Every challenge is a route to unlock new opportunities and growth. The post-COVID era has only reinforced our belief in this. The learning has been immense as we learn to function in a manner which would have been seemed impossible in normal times. We invoked our business continuity plan. Let us continue our operations in a non-disruptive way without compromising with the well-being of our employees. We refashioned our marketing endeavors to stay connected with our clients and provide them with high-quality services. The new financial year brought no respite as the pandemic resurfaced and showed us its worst phase during April to May. The worst seems to be over and the situation looks controlled with a healthy pace of vaccination in the country. The outlook for the global economy also remains mixed as the recent pickup in Delta variant cases seems to have slowed the economic recovery. Amidst this scenario, the normalization may take some more time. To ensure that the recovery becomes more broad-based and durable, RBI is cautious in unwinding the accommodative monetary policy, despite inflation being in the upper reaches of the inflation target band of 2% to 6%. The fiscal health of the government has improved considerably on account of buoyant tax revenues, which has helped calm the bond markets. Your company is well positioned with a healthy balance sheet. We intend to continue charting the growth path that we envisage for ourselves and for our stakeholders, with the right blend of a strong team and strategies leveraged with appropriate technological enhancements. We are confident that with the guidance of our directors, a dynamic and proactive management, and the trust of our stakeholders, your company shall continue to deliver value in the years to come. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my sincere gratitude to all the stakeholders for their unrelenting patronage and belief in the company and its initiatives through all these years. The interests of shareholders have always been company's prime focus, and we will endeavor to maximize value for all our shareholders. I thank the directors for their invaluable suggestions and continuous guidance. I also thank Mrs. Sunita Gupta, who served the company for 18 years and superannuated as the Executive Director and CFO on 31st August 2020. I would also like to thank all valued clients and the parent bank for their wholehearted patronage and incessant support and cooperation. I place on record gratitude to Reserve Bank of India, SEBI, stock exchanges, FEMDA, and the Primary Dealers Association of India for their continued guidance to the company. I finally acknowledge the dedicated service of all the employees of the company and their passionate involvement in building a stronger and dynamic organization. Thank you. Before proceeding further, I may inform that as required under the Companies Act 2013 and SEBI guidelines, the company has provided you the facility to cast your vote electronically on all resolutions set forth in the notice. Members who have not cast their vote electronically and who are participating in this meeting will have an opportunity to cast their votes through the e-voting system provided by NSDL. Members may please note there will be no voting by show of hands. We now take up the resolutions as set forth in the notice. We will open the floor for any questions by members after all the resolutions are tabled. Now, following other items as set out in the notice convening the meeting, the objective and rationale of the same are explained in the explanatory statement attached to the notice. Item number 1. To receive, consider and adopt the financial statements of the company for the year ended 31st March 2021 and the reports of the directors and auditors thereon. These have already been provided to the members. Item number 2. To declare final dividend of Rs 3 per equity share of Rs 10 each for the year ended 31st March 2021. Item number 3. To appoint director in place of Shri Vikas Goel, who retires by rotation and being eligible seeks reappointment. To authorize the Board of Directors to fix remuneration of statutory auditors of the company appointed by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. I may inform that in terms of Section 139(5) of the Companies Act 2013, the CAG of India has appointed Messrs. Rasool Singhal and Company Chartered Accountants as statutory auditor of the company for FY 21-22. As such, the shareholders may authorize the Board of Directors to fix the remuneration of statutory auditors as appointed by CAG of India. Item number 5 relates to my appointment. Therefore, I request Shri P.P. Parikh to take up this matter. Mike.
I have given the honor to propose the appointment of Shri Swarup Kumar Ji Shah Sahab as a director in this committee. To appoint Shri Swarup Kumar Shah as a director, he is the chairman of the company. Now I request Shri S.K. Saha to take up the remaining items.
Item number 6. To appoint Shri Ashutosh Chaudhary as a director. Now I hand back to the company secretary to take the proceedings further.
Thank you, sir. Shareholders, the
predict or somewhat give a trajectory of your earnings, because we find a lot of fluctuations in your reporting, sir. As categorically mentioned, the March quarter we reported a loss. The last June quarter we reported a huge profit of 380 crores, and this quarter again June a profit of 61 crore. So what are the variable factors on which our income and our profits swings? Yes, sir, with the plethora of funds available currently in the market, why there is no proper platform in which investors having an inclination towards GSEC, having an inclination towards debt-related market can participate. That market is very shallow. To buy and sell, there is a lot of opportunity cost that goes into it. What step the government is taking to deepen that market? We have heard many statements that the government is working to deepen the market by in a fashion in which where more participants can participate, but that has not happened. What are the key reasons why the bond market is not deepened, and why is this hindrance not adhered to, sir? Please look into our request of providing us better clarity, better understanding on the numbers on a better platform, sir. In an AGM, it is not feasible for me to ask as many as 5-10 questions and expect answer from the management within a span of 2-3 minutes. So I request to open a forum for us, have a better deliberation, better understanding, give us better understanding of the business, and that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kapoor.
Thank you so much, sir. I suppose we do not have the other speaker shareholders with us right now, so we'll request the chairman to kindly respond to the questions that we have received.
Yeah. We are working on that so that we can improve our coverage and on the performance in a much better way. As far as Mr. Kapoor's question is concerned, which of course was one of the awareness creation, we, as I said for the Mr. Singh's question, we will work internally on the suggestion that yes, we need to improve awareness, how we can have investor con calls, and how we can we should also focus on the consistent performance. We are internally deliberating on that, and we will find as we go forward. But certain results are on the market dynamics also. So the fluctuation in the yields also sometimes have impact our performance. But we have taken note of your suggestion regarding the consistency of the performance, which we will really try to maintain. The share price, of course, had a fluctuating time. It went up to 94.65 also as on 30th June. So we feel that though the market, we do not have much control on the market dynamics, but over the last 1 year, we have been done reasonably well, but we can do much more on that aspect. And Regarding the cost of fund, the banks, the company's cost of funds, average cost of funds for FY 2021 stood at 3.30%, and which was much lower than 5.28% during FY 1920. The suggestions on the retail investors for GSEC. Regarding the suggestions regarding the having a forum for the retail investors, yes, a lot of discussions have happened, but we leave it to the judgment of our regulators to come with an appropriate forum where these things can be taken care of. ये क्या है गोयल जी? What is the? There was a question regarding the on the chat. There was a question regarding the strategy of the company to ensure profits being given a rising interest environment. You have all seen the Q1 results. We will be trying to improve our performance, at least maintain the performance of the last year. But we'll like to also have we have a strong risk management team also. The board governance also has improved quite substantially, and we expect that we will show reasonably good results and maintain the continuity of last year results as well.
So we have a question by Mr. Pranay Javeri. He says that leverage going forward. He wants to know about how leverage will evolve going forward, and he also wants to know about the status of Shrey Equipment Finance.
Shrey is concerned, it is now fully provided for. There was an NCLT status quo that was maintained, but now that has been taken care of. So we are fully provided for. And as far as the leverage is concerned, I'll ask Mr. Goel to please take care of the question.
As Saji mentioned, our endeavor is to take advantage of all the opportunities available to us as the market evolves. As you are aware that rates, while coming down, now have stabilized and they are looking to go up. Our focus is on building our balance sheet, therefore leverage will go up. So the expansion, if you see, even between end of March and June, the first quarter, we have expanded our balance sheet slightly, and we are looking to expand our balance sheet essentially in low risk assets, which basically means short duration securities or short tenured securities. That is one. And second, as Saji mentioned, we have a excellent team in place both on the trading and risk management side. So the intent is to take advantage of transient trading opportunities to layer or gear the interest income which comes from increasing our leverage. So that is essentially our business strategy going forward for rest of this year.
Thank you, sir. With this, we conclude our question answer session. And if you still
one follow up, ma'am, this is Saket Kapoor.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Goel Saab, yes, the question is to Goel Saab. Sir, you were explaining that you are trying to leverage the book and trying to take advantage of the trading opportunities available in the market. So can you give us some more better understanding the way we performed for the Q1? What should be the base on which we investors should look, and what are the variables that will affect हमारे profitability margins को? सर, क्योंकि fluctuations अगर सिर्फ GSEC के ही performance को हम देखें तो उससे कितना डेल्टा है हमारी अर्निंग्स पर, एंड अदर देन दैट हमारी एक्रूड इनकम कितनी रहती है ऑन अ टोटल पाई, जिसके मुताबिक सर हम एक ट्रेजेक्ट्री बिल्ट अप कर सकें हमारे अर्निंग प्रोफाइल के ऊपर सर, क्योंकि ये भापना, ये समझना थोड़ा प्रॉब्लमेटिक हो जा रहा है कि आप खुद ही बता रहे हैं कि इंटरेस्ट रेट बॉटम्ड आउट हो गए ऐसा लग रहा है, तो अभी गोइंग फॉरवर्ड अगर रेट बढ़ते हैं तो आपकी बुक्स पे किस प्रकार की एमटीएम की हिट आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं? अगर यील्ड टू मैच्योरिटी का पोर्टफोलियो कितना है, क्या है, हमारा ड्यूरेशन क्या है, वो अगर बताएं सर। और आपने जो लेवरेज वाला पॉइंट कहा है उसको अगर थोड़ा डेल्ट करके बताएं कि कैसे आप क्या देखते हैं और क्या ट्रेजेक्ट्री है अर्निंग की हमारी इस बरस के लिए सर। धन्यवाद।
Sir, Kapoorji, for obvious reasons, I cannot given the nature of our business, I cannot give a very coherent forward guidance. But I will try to explain where we are, at least in the based on results which are there in the public domain, which are basically June results. As you can see, in June results, if you compare sequentially, if you notice in Q4, and you had mentioned also that that there was a trading loss in Q4. Essentially, and you may recall that Reserve Bank had started normalizing liquidity in February. I don't know whether you read it. In February, they started what is called variable rate reverse repo program of 2 lakh crores to remove 2 lakh crores of excess liquidity from the market. That had resulted in the yields, particularly in short term papers up to 3-4 years, going up, which is where we were positioned. And that was the result that resulted in that loss in Q4, which came back to us in first quarter. So the intent is to build a short-term book, basically what we call duration or average tenure of between 2 to 3 years. That will give us interest income. Just to give you a little guidance on our cost of funding, essentially we are equivalent of banks. We are allowed into the interbank market. Most of our funding is overnight and it's secured via repo programs, either market repos or tri-party or with Reserve Bank. And our cost normally is, if you read in the newspaper, you read about MIBOR, Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate, which is the overnight rate at which banks lend to or borrow from each other in the interbank market. Our borrowing cost or cost of funding normally is MIBOR minus 10 to 15 basis points. So currently the MIBOR is about 335. Our funding cost would be about 325. The only guidance I will give you is, if you look again publicly available data, if you look at 2-3 year government securities at their yields, they range from T-bills at about 340 to 5 year at about 560. So essentially T-bills are basically up to 1 year, and 5 year, as I said, is a 5 year security, 563 to be precise. That is roughly at about 560. So you can take an average of about 4.5 in between. So that is this is publicly available data, and you can at least look at our balance sheet size and work with these numbers to get a feel for where interest income should be. Having said that, again, the numbers, this is just an estimate from publicly available numbers. Our endeavor is to build a stable book, but we are constrained. We are on Indian accounting standard, Ind AS. So our entire book is a trading book or mark to market. Therefore, we are exposed to mark to market on daily basis. Our endeavor is to reduce the trading losses while keeping interest income intact, and which is what precisely happened if you see sequentially in Q1 of this year. So essentially we had a trading loss, but our interest income was much more, roughly at about 95 crores for the quarter, and the trading loss was about 35 crores on that portfolio, the carry portfolio, and as a result we had a PBT of about 51 crores. So the endeavor is to build on that, and there are transient opportunities in the market to trade, particularly spreads. So it's not only that we deal in government securities, we also deal in state development loans. We also are an active player, for your information, in corporate bonds. We are number 4 on the arrangers list. So essentially we have been concentrating on sales, on fee income, on dealing in SDLs, etc., to de-risk or try to mitigate the risk of rising interest rates and its impact on our balance sheet. So that is essentially what we are looking to do going forward.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar, sir. And we look forward for sir investor con call, sir. That should be one of your endeavors, sir, to educate your investors, sir, going forward. That was my last suggestion, sir. If the board looks into the merit of their shareholders being informed post quarterly numbers about the business update, that would really suffice a lot of queries from investor community, because only AGM should not be the forum through which investors should participate and ask their concerns or suggestions. If there is forums like investor con calls also, sir. Please look into and deliberate. I request the board to deliberate on the merits of the same. Thank you.
We have noted your suggestions and we will examine it at the board level.
Thank you, Mr. Saket. So we have some more questions coming in on the chat box. I'll read them out. So the first question is by our shareholder, Mr. Amit Adeshra. He has a query on the dividend payout and is asking that whether the payout ratio can be increased to 50% instead of 40%.
Who's the question?
Mr. Amit Adeshra.
Good afternoon, Mr. Amit. It's the idea of the company, the broad strategy of the company is to have strong fundamentals. So we have given a record dividend this year. So we feel internally that we had to build on our fundamentals also. So going forward, we can absorb any future shocks in the market. So that was the idea of the keeping it at 3 rupees this time.
Okay, so we have one more question by Mr. Urbija Shah. He has two queries. One is that what is our strategy to increase our market share? And secondly, he is asking that with retail investors pouring in, how will it impact us?
On the market share, your company is now very clearly the number 2 bond house in this country. After I will name, it's good to be number 2 because then you know who you need to beat. It's ICICI Primary Dealership, which is ahead of us. We are clearly number 2. Behind us is SBI, DFHI and STCI. And there are other foreign PDs whose business models is totally different. So we are always endeavoring to benchmark against ISEC PD, and our endeavor remains constant. In terms of market share, we were roughly at 4% of the market last year. I think that number has increased slightly, so about 5% is the number now. And the endeavor always is to try to increase market share. However, at least our endeavor is to look at profitability much more than market share. In my mind, it's far more important to be profitable rather than just go after market share for the sake of market share. So we keep that in mind and we balance the two. In terms of the second question on retail side, Reserve Bank is starting a platform directly. So for retail investors, essentially you can open an account with Reserve Bank and the platform will be there to trade directly. There has been some conversations with us by Reserve Bank in terms of how we can contribute, etc. So we will be liquidity providers on that platform in terms of quoting two-way prices, etc. And individual investors can open an account with Reserve Bank, or at least early stages, that is what it is looking like. And you can then on that platform buy or sell securities. I think that question was raised and specifically so. So essentially it is Reserve Bank's endeavor and we will be liquidity providers. Our model per se is an institutional and wholesale model and it does not lend itself well to doing retail business. But we will be providing liquidity. I mean, that is the early thoughts on this subject. So essentially when you go on a platform, you will see a market maker like us quoting you in small lots in certain securities, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, so on and so forth. So that we will be doing. That will be our contribution. Will it impact our business? To begin with, our business is institutional and wholesale. So it will not substantially impact. It will only add to the richness and variety and width of the market. which is an excellent endeavor which we need to pursue wholeheartedly.
Thank you, sir. Now we have with us online our shareholder speaker, Mr. J. Abhishek. Mr. Abhishek, you can kindly unmute yourself and ask the question.
Just a second, sir. Just a second. Can you hear me, sir? Am I audible?
Yes, Mr. Abhishek, you are audible.
Sir, my name is Abhishek, shareholder of the company. My DPID IN 301637 and client ID is 41359155. Sir, first of all, I congratulate the management on the eve of 25th annual general body meeting. This is our silver jubilee year, sir. So the shareholders are having a lot of expectations from the management. Hope the management will fulfill the wish and desire of the minority investor fraternity in the years to come.
Thank you.
Sir, the trust all is well with you and your family in this challenging situation. Our company deserves much more respect than the current market cap after completing more than a decade of successful operations, profitability, dividend history, and becoming one of the strongest brand in our respective segment. Sir, I would like to know how our business has got impacted during the pandemic time in the past 2 years. The coronavirus and the subsequent lockdowns have left virtually no industry untouched after the COVID. So, any employees have been sacked, salary cut in percentage, if any, I would like to know from you. So, what are the cost-cutting initiatives being done by the management, and what are the any salary cut was being taken by the management during the pandemic time? So what are the steps being taken by the management to reduce the other expenses, legal professional charges, and the audit fees? So myself and my team are running a legal firm in the name and style of someone else associate in Chennai. So I request you
to please speak a little bit slowly so that we can also understand.
Yeah, sure.
Please, thank you.
Madam, regarding the legal expenses I have asked about, madam, then myself and my team are running a legal firm in the name and style of Seven Wells Associate in Chennai. So I request your good selves to kindly enroll our firm in the empanelment of the company, and we will be glad to extend our services, sir. So then in the NSDL portal, where we get exercise the e-voting and where we get access to the annual general body meeting, you are supposed to update the inspection of documents like register of members, register of KMP, and register of contracts, if any, sir. So if you can just provide the link to our email ID, or if it is provided in the website, it is easy for the shareholders to access, sir. Nothing much to us, sir. We are the well-wishers of the company. And this is a 25th annual general body meeting, our silver jubilee year. I would like to honor our chairman cum managing director with the memento and a shawl, but since the annual general body meetings are being conducted virtually for the past 2 years and we are not able to meet you physically, I will send the same through courier, so you can just share the company secretary contact details with me, so that immediately the consignment is sent, I can share the consignment details to the company secretary through over phone or email. So please coordinate, sir. Nothing much to ask, sir. I wish the company and the board of directors a great success and prosperity in the coming future. I thank the company secretary and entire team for conducting this annual general body meeting virtually and making this 25th annual general body meeting a grand success. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for giving the opportunity. Thank you.
Answer. Regarding your queries on the technical front, I request my company secretary to get in touch with him for whatever issues are as per the procedures.
Reply to him, sir.
We have a query by Mr. Amit Adishra again. He basically wants to know about the employee benefit expenses of the company. Employee expenses, benefit expenses, employee expenses. Yes, sir.
Well, it is available in the balance sheet.
We can separately reply to the query. Okay.
This we will reply
to the query specifically.
All right.
We will specific.
Sure, sir. The next question is by Mr. Vikas Vahi. He wants to inquire about company's projection for the coming 5 years. Company's business projections for the coming 5 years. Mr. Vikas, sir.
Morning, Mr. Vikas. It is very difficult to actually predict in the activity that we are in. But we will try to do our best. If you see our comparison of March 20 and March 21 on all the basic key efficiency parameters, the company has improved substantially, whether it is on the profitability, whether it is on the capital adequacy, whether it is on the interest coverage ratio, and net on funds. So our endeavor would be to maintain this consistency and do all our best with the strong governing board that we have and the strong risk management measures that we have taken. we expect that the company will continue to meet the expectations of the stakeholders.
Yes, sir. Sir, we have two more questions coming in. So one is a very specific question by Mr. Pranay Javeri. He wants to...
Sir, am I audible? Just a second, sir. Other device is on. I'll just start the other meeting.
So our endeavor would be to maintain this consistency and...
J. Abhishek is speaking.
Yeah, I've unmuted him. I think he was done with the question. Yeah, so Mr. Pranay Javeri wants to ask that in case of cancellation of an issue of GSEC by government, is there any downside risk for us, for our business as a primary dealer?
If there is a cancellation, there is no downside risk except in terms of how the market reacts to it. If the market reacts negatively to the cancellation, then obviously we may potentially lose money. On the other hand, market also sometimes reacts positively. So in that case, we can make money. But per se, cancellation as opposed to devolvement, there is no impact upon us. It's just a cancellation of the auction. So whatever underwriting fee which is there, as an underwriter, as we are a primary dealer, it's an obligation to underwrite government issuances. That fee we will not make. That is the only actual loss. Any other loss depends upon how the market behaves and how it impacts our existing portfolio.
Yeah. Next, Mr. Urvija Shah wants to ask that we saw the stake divestment in PNB Housing during the year, and also there are rumors about the company being on the block. Is it true?
No such discussion as of present.
I think we can conclude the question answer session now. And in case the shareholders still feel there are any unanswered questions, they can mail it to m.kochar@pnbgilts.com. And now I'll request the company secretary to take over the proceedings of the meeting. Thank you.
Members may please note that the voting on NSDL platform will remain available for the next 30 minutes. Therefore, those who haven't yet casted their vote are requested to cast it. Your board of directors have appointed Mr. Ankit Singhi, practicing company secretary bearing CP number 16274 as the scrutinizer to supervise the e-voting process. The result of voting will be declared within prescribed timelines, and the same will also be posted on the company's website and on the websites of NSDL, NSE and BSE. The resolution as set forth in the notice of AGM shall be deemed to be passed today, subject to receipt of requisite number of votes. Now I request the chairman to declare the meeting closed.
Thank you, Monica. I once again thank all the shareholders for attending this meeting and also giving their valuable suggestions to the company for improvement. I also thank my board colleagues and the staff members for making this meeting successful. I now declare the proceedings as closed. Thank you very much and see you next year.